All right. So once again, good evening to each and every one of you. And then today we are here to understand as to how all of us can unlock our genetic potential. I'll explain to you as to what that genetic potential is during this presentation, and then how we can take control of our life. So this is going to be the topic that we're going to be discussing today. So I'll be spending a little time explaining to you certain basic things, and at the same time reminding you a lot of things that you already know. So this is a world famous saying. Every one of us have heard it multiple times, but हम लोग ये करेंगे कि एक बार उसके आकलन करेंगे कि आज के मेरे जिंदगी में इसको कैसे हम लोग implement कर सकते हैं. So we all are busy. That's one big disease that all of us have. We're all busy. Busy in what? Busy in making our life better by way of doing a job or a business, or we are into various kinds of profession, or we probably might do a job and practice as a professional. So a lot of multitasking what we do. So मतलब हिंदी में इसको करेंगे तो हम लोग एक बहुत भयानक भागदौड़ी में व्यस्त हैं. Now, what is the cost that we are paying for this is our health, because we probably don't take enough care of our physical body, which is ensuring that we also will be, experiencing wellness holistically, whether it's, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and so many dimensions of the wellness that we are all very familiar of. तो उनको हम लोग ज्यादा प्राधान्यता ना देते हुए हम लोग एक तरफा की जिंदगी में जा रहे हैं, so that we can accumulate a lot of money, wealth, etc. I was speaking today to someone who says, I've been recognized as this person, and I'm really happy. So I feel that I'm one of the richest person because I don't care about money so much. It's not that, and these matters. These things matter, because even if I have a lot of money, I will probably will be yearning for this. मतलब इसके लिए मैं craving करता रहूंगा. So friends, we all are so busy that we don't really take care of our basic health. And when we are at a stage where we feel that yes, we have accumulated a lot of wealth, हमारे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, we are traveling so much, we are not able to do a lot of things, is because now your body starts showing up its resistance and the wear and tear that's happening on a day-to-day basis, and which you are not nurtured it and taken proper care. So now the body is retaliating, and एक तरीके से हमको बता देता है कि आपने मेरा ख्याल नहीं रखा, so आपका भी मैं नहीं ख्याल रखूंगा. So what happens is that we spend a lot of money by getting to trying to get our health back. So what really happens is that all the money that we accumulated goes in actually getting back what we have lost while doing this money. So अलग-अलग तरीके से आप इसको समझ सकते हैं और लोगों को समझा सकते हैं. Friends, let's reflect on our own life first. Are we really doing what we are supposed to do it? So what are we supposed to do? एक अच्छी health, अच्छी सेहत करने के लिए what are the things that we need to take care of? अब पता तो सबको ही है, आपको भी पता है, मुझे भी पता है, लेकिन इंग्लिश में कहते हैं कि knowing is knowing, doing is doing. तो just knowing is not equivalent to be doing it. तो बहुत सारी चीजें हम लोग करते नहीं है. सबसे पहले we all know our body is priceless. It's more than the value of it is more than a Jaguar or a BMW or a Lamborghini. So इसमें, if all these vehicles needs to run, it needs to have fuel. It needs to have maybe in future electric power. So one of the major fuels that we right now use is petrol, diesel, and maybe electric power. So the same way our body also needs that fuel, which is nothing but nutrition. But the nutrition can, you can have a lot of nutrition, but it needs to be balanced nutrition. ये तो हम लोगों ने प्राइमरी में सुना है कि what is balanced nutrition. You need to have macronutrients. Macro is big in size, so large quantity में हमारे शरीर के लिए चाहिए, which is essentially protein, carbohydrates, and various kinds of fats, and of course a little bit of fiber. Then comes your micronutrients. Micronutrients मतलब micro is small, छोटे quantity में चाहिए, but they are very very essential. मान के चलिए वही जगुआर, BMW, लंबोर्गिनी की अगर बात करेंगे तो वहां पर कूलेंट की भी जरूरत है, इंजन ऑयल की भी जरूरत है, so but in small quantities, so that the machine runs smoothly and actually you are able to achieve what the machine's functions are. सो हमारी बॉडी भी ऑप्टिमम लेवल में जो फंक्शन बॉडी में होने चाहिए वो अगर सभी करने के लिए हमको अपने आप को तैयार करना है तो वी नीड टू हैव बैलेंस्ड न्यूट्रिशन. अब ये चीज किसको नहीं पता है, सबको पता है, बट लुक एट व्हाट वी आर ईटिंग. नॉट everyone is paying attention to what we are eating. We also need to keep our body hydrated. This famous saying that the famous knowledge that 70% of our planet Earth is having water, and 70% of our body and major organs have water, and water plays that very, very vital role of hydrating our body with the oxygen and hydrogen molecules, and it also keeps your body's functions to the optimum level. तो कौन सा पानी पीना चाहिए, आम भाषा में बोल देंगे तो एक अच्छा पानी है, बुरा पानी है, good water and bad water. और उसी को थोड़ा टेक्निकली बोल देंगे, you can have a lot of acidic water or acidic beverages that you can consume, but we can also look at alkaline. So our blood has 7.35 pH of alkalinity. तो उससे एक या दो नॉच ज्यादा pH रखेंगे तो our body will be always alkaline, and the research says that body kept in alkaline conditions cannot attract a lot of common diseases. We also need to have clean air, and that's very, very essential. We can't take a fish out of water and then expect it to survive. Same way, we cannot live inside the water. We need to be living outside the water, and our existence is based on the oxygen that we consume. Agar oxygen 2-3-4 minute ke liye nahi milega, people will die, all of us will die. So that's the essential thing. So it's fundamental. But today the quality of air that we are consuming is so drastically bad. Right now I'm sitting in Mumbai, and I'm not really very proud to say that this year Mumbai has beaten Delhi to be the worstly polluted country in India, the city in India. So the air quality index of Mumbai has been worse than even Delhi, which was always been criticized for the pollution. And as we saw in the video, there are 15 to 16% of the deaths annually happening globally are happening because of pollution. So that could be various kinds of pollution, but air is one of the things. So much of devastation happening, but nobody really pays attention. So what kind of environment that we are living in? Then of course we need to we need to do exercise. Human beings are given legs because they need to be walking. They need not be sitting all the time. So our legs almost 50% of our height. Okay, so now we need to be doing exercise. Now the common knowledge is कि भाई जो भी है exercise करो. But if you go a little advanced, you need to do some specific exercise based on your genomic or genetic makeup. You cannot be doing wrong exercises. And today it has become a major problem that people are doing wrong exercise, and many of them are succumbing to sudden cardiac arrest. They're running on treadmill, or they're doing some laborious work, or they're playing tennis. And we have seen so many videos that people are just, collapsing, and then they're not rising again alive. So we need to understand what's the exercise that we need to be doing as well. And at the end, friends, I will put everything in one big loaded word called modern lifestyle. My understanding as I was growing about lifestyle was that, wear good clothes and, maybe drive a good car. I thought that's a lifestyle. But later I understood that lifestyle is not as easy or simple as we understand. Lifestyle is to do a lot with every single choice that we make on a day-to-day basis. My thoughts could also determine my lifestyle. So first is one of the important things that people don't pay a lot of attention to, but now people are waking up to this, is our sleeping patterns. The social media has put our sleeping patterns completely, haywire. Log good morning bolte hain, wish karte hain, baad mein so jate hain, because people are sleeping after 12 o'clock. Many people are wanting to exhaust their GB, the data, so that they can do a lot of time pass on the mobile phones and watch a lot of stuff which is not adding any value to their life. So sleeping patterns today, sleep works like your savings bank account. उसमें जैसे credit or debit होता है. If you are depriving yourself of sleep, that still gets accumulated, and over a period of time it actually shows up in various health conditions. Then there are addictions. We all are very familiar with alcoholism, smoking, and drugs. But today there are so many other addictions. Being sad all the time also could be an addiction. People love to be sad because you get a lot of attention. People start asking you, inquiring about you. So, the social media itself can lead to a lot of psychological disorders. Like if you don't really get the enough likes and, probably the people are not sharing your post, you might be affecting, saying that, whether people love me, like me, etc. So these kind of addictions are psychologically hurting all of us. Then comes the modern day stress. मतलब इसके बारे में बात ही करेंगे तो और स्ट्रेस बढ़ जाएगा. So modern day stress, again, economical stress, relationship related stress, a lot of community related stress, etc. So all this is also hampering our health if you're not in balance. And of course, how can we forget the most important thing that every one of us are depending on is the sort of life-saving drugs. Okay, and all of us in one way or the other are maintaining a small medical shop in our own house. हमारे घर में first aid से लेके, there are so many drugs and chemical laden medicines that are available. So now prescription medicine itself is being criticized for its, of course, disadvantage over advantages. But there is a lot of peer prescription that we do. People are consuming a lot of steroids to get instant results without taking care of how it's going to have a side effects, etc. So friends, इस slide को एक summary करूं, ये सबको पता तो है, सबको ही है. It's not something that new that I'm saying, but it's a reminder for all of us as genomic wellness consultants that we need to practice what we are preaching, and at the same time we need to empower people by saying that the secret of health is an open secret. There's nothing, no other mantra. All these basic things, if we do, we'll be be in health, be experiencing healthy. But we have to look at how people are really looking at taking care of their health. So I would like to divide the way we are approaching our health into two segments. One is the current model, which we call it as an old model. And then there is a new model, we call it as a future model. In the current model, everybody goes to hospitals or health establishment only after they have some symptoms or disorders or diseases. So it's a reactive approach. पहले कुछ हो जाता है, then you go to a hospital, then try to get it repaired. But in the new model, you don't wait for the diseases, but you do a prediction, because now that technology is available where based on our genetic makeup, genetic, the heredity or the inheritance that we are acquiring from our parents and from various generations, we will be able to predict what are the possibilities of we having various diseases. The current model is disease, it's a management model. That means you can only manage. There, if you are claiming that this disease can be cured or healed, you probably could be legally prosecuted because you're giving a wrong claim. So that's the restriction that we have. Whereas in the new model, you're looking at a preventive approach even before a disease really troubles you. So that's a future model. In the current model, we are also looking at generalized approach. It's a generic approach. For the best example is the vaccination. I'm sure whoever has taken the vaccination probably didn't have too many choices to have a personalized vaccination. It's a couple of companies which we have manufactured and we need to be undergoing because of the compliances and the regulatory orders. So here in the future model, your approach to healthcare will be personalized. It's about you. It's not about what a lot of other people are doing who are similar to you. The current model is definitely expensive because you need to have a consultation, you need to approach the health establishment through maybe the transportation, you need to be doing a lot of diagnostic tests, and we also need to be consuming a lot of medicines without even actually knowing what if they are going to work on you or no. So in the future model, it's a value for money approach because the solutions here are very simple, they're natural. So which one would you really go for? If I ask you a question that you may be having a 4G phone right now, but there is a 5G phone in the market, would you like to go for it, or I'll offer you a 2G phone? Well, obviously everybody would like to go be progressive and then get a 5G phone. So here, as far as health is concerned, we're all into 2G technology because we are actually doing things day in and day out which have now been proven that they're not working, but in spite of that we are doing this. So friends, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to explain to you as to how genetics is important to all of us. And I'm sure thoda isko attention pay kar lijiye, you'll understand. If any one of you are here for the first time, you'll really understand what is genetics, not from a very technical or a scientific way, but then from a layman's language. So my simple question to you is, do you want to be healthy? The answer is yes. Do you want to be happy? I'm sure it'll be stupid if you say that no, I don't want to be happy. Every human being wants to be happy. Do you want to live long? Well, when you are young, you might just casually say that I don't want to live long because there's a lot of stress. But when you are feeling that, I probably, the fear of death comes in, you would like to, try to do everything and be healthy and live longer. So, yeah, kaise possible hai? How can we really achieve a state of being healthy, happy, and long when you have a fit physical body with not so many complaints? Now, how do you have a fit physical body, healthy body, irrespective of what your shape size is? Earlier we had a culture of family physicians. गांव में जब हम लोग रहते थे, या even in cities, we had our fixed family physician who we used to go maybe once in a year or once in 2 years or maybe regularly for small ailments. Now he'll give you a small bottle with pink syrup and some medicines, and he would say nothing major, don't worry, you go back home, maybe have some hot water or take some rest. So simple solutions he would give. The reason is he would know us personally. He would know my financial status, my relationship status in my family, my economic condition, my social status, and everything. So based on all those factors, he will give us medicine which was customized, and with a little trigger, things would have, with a little, medicine, things were back to normal in 1 or 2 days. But that is not the case today, because human body, now today we have understood with so much of an enlightenment around us, that the body is made up of systems. So alag-alag systems, there are 11 major systems. And today, unfortunately, your body is looked after not by one family physician or a general practitioner, but super specialists. So there is a specialization. So your body is looked after by at least around 15, 20 different people who are super specialists. If you have orthopedics problem or a joint related problems, you don't go to a cardiologist. Or if you have a heart related problems, you don't go to a nephrologist. So we all go to the specialist, and they all do very good care with a lot of knowledge, science, technology that has come into the healthcare industry. But what really happens is that it actually ends up in we having nothing but multiple organ failures, because today a lot of people are dying because of all the things that we discussed today, lack of proper nutrition and diet patterns, water and sleeping patterns and all that. And at the same time, also maybe at times, wrong treatment or not correct diagnosis, etc. So today, the healthcare industry is doing its best to help all of us. But because of our lifestyle and because of a lot of other factors, people actually end up having multiple organ failures. And we have seen in the last 2 years how people, are dying out of sudden cardiac arrest. There's a lot of various debate going on, whether is it because of post COVID symptoms or is it because of vaccinations. But that we'll put aside, because that's not the point here. The point is that, people are having this kind of a failure. So organs are made up of tissues. There are 4 types of tissues, and then tissues are made up of cells. If you really look at the alternative therapies, they all talk about cellular nutrition. One fundamental belief and theory, or the central dogma of alternative theory, is that they say that you need to keep your cells healthy. Agar cells healthy hain, then you will have your tissues, organs, systems, and ultimately the body very healthy. And then you can experience good health, happiness, and longevity. But let's look at the human anatomy and physiology from this perspective, that how did we manage to get 37.2 trillions in our body? There are various theories that there are trillions of cells, but the scientific community has now come to a conclusion. Yes, an adult body has around 37.2 trillion cells. How did these cells come in? So that's where we need to understanding as to how we are, biologically born. So the cells, you can see here, there is a nucleus and there is a cytoplasm, there's mitochondria, there's a cell membrane, and so many other things. The cell in itself is like a universe. But this universe was created by the first cell, which was conceived in my mother's womb, when I'm talking about me, which is called zygote. So this zygote is a combination of a father's sperm and mother's egg. So when this is conceived, we need to understand what information this has, what technology this has. Bill Gates says DNA is like a software which is written, which is so complicated that nobody has ever written this software. It's more complicated than a software, because it comes with the traits of my father and mother, and both the traits I will be carrying. So what are the traits that I'll be carrying? Well, the traits could be, physical, emotional, behavior, and so many other things. I'll come to it. But does this zygote have traits of only of my father and mother? Well, my father also had his father and mother, who are my grandparents, and my mother also had her parents, father and mother. Now, if you see, marriages don't happen in the same families, and if there are some communities where marriages do happen in the same community, if not in the same family. And if there are such marriages, there are of course genetic disorders. That is because of the science of genetics. Now here, if you see, there are two different families. So I get information in my zygote from two different families, but they also got from two different families. So this zygote now has information and traits passed on from 6 different families. Is it just 6? No, there are another 8 families involved in my zygote. So if we go back this way, this is the generation 1, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. You will go millions of generations, and all that information is passed on from one generation to the other. So this zygote doesn't have the information of only our parents, but also our grandparents and great grandparents and all those generations. So in essence, you will be able to get various traits from all this family, which is called hereditary, or which is also called through inheritance. So what are the things that we can carry from all these families? Our physical appearance, our hair color, hair type, eye color, our complexion, the completely the way we think, we laugh, we speak, our thought process, our personality traits, everything. Then we have our emotional traits. How do I come across? Am I a jovial person, angry person, short-tempered person, saddest person, or various kinds of moods, emotions is what we carry genetically. Then we also look at how you come across as a person, as behavioral. Yes, sabhi traits is there in this zygote. Now this zygote made so much of an interest to the scientific community. The government of USA started exploring further, and then they said, we want to investigate further. So they wanted to explore internal inward journey of human beings, not outward journey. Okay, by outside your body is your your house, your village, your community, your district, your country, your continent, your earth, planet, then galaxy. वो outward journey हो गया. But they wanted to get inside and then find out कि भाई cells में क्या है. So they found out, which was already known to the scientific community, that the cell has a nucleus, which is, there is one nucleus in every cell, and then there are chromosomes. Now, as we know, there are 23 chromosomes coming from father and 23 chromosomes coming from mother. So this process of transferring half a chromosomes from one to another cell is called meiosis. It's not mitosis. So it's mitosis is the division of cell, but meiosis is where you have this half chromosomes coming together and give birth to a new creation. So this happens through chromosomes. So we have 23 into 2 chromosomes in every single cell. Then we have DNA in that. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, which is nothing but an instruction manual written in the cell. So all this technology was there in the zygote. So zygote mein ek pair tha, ek set of chromosomes tha, that is replicated, and then multiple cells happened, and then we have, end of the day, we have 37.2 trillion cells. So cells have death, and the new cells are being regenerated, and that's the instruction, that's the function done by the DNA or the genes. So in the DNA there are genes. Genes is nothing but a small segment of DNA which has certain instruction sets for all the functions of the body, various functions of the body, for reproduction, for growth, for repair, for all the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Now, very importantly, what we understood is that through this human genome project, that genes which are between 20,000 to 25,000 genes in every single cell, they are also further divided into something called base pairs or nucleotides. And these are nothing but ATGC. ATGC is adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So these are nothing but their spelling of a certain code that is being written. So now just imagine how many base pairs are there in one cell. Well, the scientific community through this human genome project understood that there are 300 crores into 2, which is a pair. So 300 crore 2 is 600 crores alphabets. A, T, C, G. तो अलग-अलग sequence में वो है. So just imagine that you have 600 crores into 37.2 trillion cells. So that many alphabets is what our biological information has. Now, the science says that if you put together A, T, C, G, one above the other and make a ladder, it can go to the moon 6,000 times and come back. So that's the information a biological body has. Now, what is genetics now and how it is relevant to what we are discussing today is because, we have, let's say, understand this through the language of English. English language, you can understand that it has alphabets and there are A to Z 26 alphabets. Now, 26 alphabets को मिला के एक sequence में अगर हम लोग जोड़ देंगे, then it becomes like a word. For example, you can see a lot of words here. Body is made up of B, O, D, Y. These are 4 alphabets put together, and we understand body का मतलब क्या होता है. For an example, let's say we are putting 3 words called D-O-N. D-O-N is dawn. Dawn मतलब हमको थोड़ा सा डर लगता है. But let's assume that my English is not so good and I make a small silly mistake. And instead of dawn, I actually put it as D-O-G. Instead of N, मैंने एक गलत शब्द लिख लिया, alphabet लिख लिया called G, which तो N के बदले G लिख लिया. From an English perspective, it's just a letter which is changed. और उसका meaning क्या हुआ? मतलब डर तो इससे भी लगता है, कुत्ते से भी लगता है. So dog and dawn में काफी फर्क है. So the interpretation of that is completely changed. So suppose if I were to write a exam in English, the teacher would say ये तो क्या लिखा है? गलत है. This is wrong. But genetic language में इसको बोलते हैं mutation. This is not a spelling mistake, it's a mutation. Now, what kind of mutations are there? Of course, there are many types, but broadly there are 2 types of mutations. One is genetic mutation. What are genetic mutations? All the information that we have got, which is not in our favor, which is harming us from generation to generation, will be a genetic mutation. Now, what we do at Velocity Genetics is to try to understand what are the genetic mutations that you have. But here is the sad news. Even if you have don't have any genetic mutations, and if you are like born very healthy without any family history of any ailments, well, you can have a very, very bad lifestyle, which you talked about, and you still can have mutations based on your lifestyle. If you're alcoholic, if you're smoking, if you're eating a lot of junk food, if you're not sleeping on time, no exercise, eating too much of a medicine, also can cause mutations and create spelling mistakes. Now, अगर ये इतना समझ में आ गया, then we understand how genetics is important to all of us, because we were not couriered or delivered by Amazon or Flipkart कि भाई घर पे कोई baby आ गया. We are all biologically born. So biological born है, we can, we understand. There is Robert Kiyosaki who says rich dad, poor dad. उसके अलग-अलग daddies थे. Somebody who comes in Bollywood also might say that, he's my godfather. But he also has a biological father. So we all have a biological father and mother, and उनके ही तो trait आ जाएंगे. If I really look at Kali tomorrow and then say I want to become tall like him, I cannot, because Kali के father मेरे father नहीं है, या Kali के parents मेरे parents नहीं है. So I have to be understanding that my traits are based on my genetics of my inheritance. So that is the reason I need to understand what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. That's all we talk about here, and of course we help you understand. So the research says that if you can really understand your genetic code, your spellings properly, you will be able to understand कि कहाँ गलतियां हैं, कहाँ spelling mistakes है, and what are the genetic risk factors that you have for various health conditions. So if you really know it well in advance, it's like a secret जो आपको पता है, because पहले option नहीं था. Now the technology is there. So if you understand your body very scientifically, you can take control of your health. I'm not saying that you will be absolutely all right or you're healthy. You can take control. If there are some genetic disorders, genetic shortcomings, or some poor condition that we are all born with, we can be aware of that and we can work on it, or we can understand why our body is behaving the way it's behaving right now. So welcome to Velocity Genetics. We are the pioneers and market leaders in gene-based wellness solutions in India. We're not here to tell you only the problems, but we will also give you the solutions. So how do we do it? Through predictive healthcare with genetic sequencing. हम लोग ट्रायल एंड एरर मेथड नहीं करते हैं और अंदाजे में नहीं करते कि भाई ट्राई करो, बाद में एक हफ्ते के बाद में मिलो. We will say that you do your predictive healthcare DNA analysis, and then we'll tell you the risk factors and we'll give you the solutions. And because it's a new science, new subject, we're also creating a lot of awareness through various methods. Maybe this webinar is an effort. We are doing scientific symposium like SAGE. We are doing CCNG accreditations, and we are also offering a course called CCNG, Certificate Course in Nutrigenomics, through our academic platform called WIGNET. WIGNET is Velocity Institute of Genomics, Nutrition and Entrepreneurship Training. Genetics can also make you a very good profitable entrepreneur. So this is the management of Velocity Genetics. I'm fortunate to be the CMD of the company, founding this company in 2016. We started our business in 2017. Milind Doshi, my technology partner, technology officer, explains to us what genetics is. And if I'm able to speak today a little bit about genetics, thanks to his, association. Then we have our genetic officers who are, every one of them are PhD scholars, and they've studied in USA universities, and they are at the back end, helping our research team. Now, your report is genetic, comes with a lot of code, and that needs to be interpreted. जैसे आपने कुछ pathological report कर दिया, X-ray ले लिया, you will be able to see it, but you will not be able to understand and interpret it rightly. So you need experts to do it. Doctors do it for you as far as pathology reports and other X-rays and other reports are concerned. But here, to decode your genetic report, we have genetic counselors who will not only decode the report for you and simplify and tell you, they will also tell you solutions based on nutrition, because we fundamentally believe human body survives on nutrition and not on medicine. And that's why this philosophy called let food be thy medicine and not medicine be thy food. So these are all our counselors. So they are all working from different cities and talk to our clients. Even today evening we got another batch. Every week we are getting a batch. So their genetic schedule counseling will be scheduled tomorrow. So tomorrow onwards. So these are the counselors. But since this is to do with human body, and we also have a lot of medical advisory board members coming from various streams of allopathic and modern medicine. That also includes, of course, Ayurveda, homeopathy, radiology, pathology, and so many other things, integrated medicine, general physicians. So they help us and do a lot of webinars and guide us. And on Thursday, you will see another doctor, Dr. Daryl DeMello, speaking to us. So these are the medical advisory board. So what do we have today to offer to is that through Velocity Genetics, you have an opportunity where you can understand yourself through a genetic sequencing. And this entire is, offer is called a program. It's not a DNA test. It's a DNA test-based wellness program. And here we are not doing just 1, 2, or 10 or 15. We are doing over 300 different DNA tests. And this entire project is inspired by the Human Genome Project of USA. So in one sentence, we can say, what is this Velocity Genetics DNA testing program? It's a genetic-based predictive and preventive healthcare program. Okay, so that's what we are creating. So let's understand what are the tests that we do. Now, as I told you, 300 tests. Agar 300 tests ke baare mein baat karenge, so it will be too lengthy webinar, and then I need to close fast. So I'll only talk about the categories. So we have around 22 different categories. The first one is nutrient deficiency risks. अगर आपके गाड़ी में पेट्रोल डीजल ही सही नहीं है, उसके बदले केरोसिन डाल रहे हैं और कुछ ऑयल डाल रहे हैं, तो आपकी गाड़ी खराब होनी है. So we'll understand how is your macronutrient metabolism, what's your micronutrient metabolism, what's your taste perception, which are the food do you like, sweet or bitter or fatty food, which are deep fried oily food, And then what are the food intolerances that you have? 3 major intolerances: gluten, lactose, and caffeine, and also salt metabolism. If you are consuming too much of a salt, you will have various conditions. And regulation of eating, how frequently you eat, what's your portion size, what makes you go to the kitchen or anywhere else where the food is kept and start eating, and how frequently you eat. It all is a emotional eating as well. So we understand that. And weight management. So ye will give you a complete perspective as to what should be your right food. Then we move on to a lot of other conditions. So let's talk about cardiac health. The general perception about cardiac health matlab kya ki heart related hota hai, ya to heart attack ya to sudden cardiac arrest. But there are so many other ailments related to heart. Heart also is like any other organ, but a very, very critical organ. So there is dyslipidemia, then there is vascular diseases, there are cardiovascular diseases, there is arrhythmia, which is like irregular heartbeat. There are valve-related diseases, you can see in the image here. Then there is a cardiomyopathy, which leads to various conditions. Then you have venous thromboembolism, and then we have terminal heart disorders, which leads to heart failure and sudden cardiac arrest, and inflammatory diseases. Okay, so these are all the profiles that you can check, and then we can give you solutions. Then there is a diabetes, which is a lifestyle related issue. It's a diabetes, a lifestyle related condition. It's, many people who are diabetic get really wild and angry saying that it's not a disease, it's a lifestyle disorder. I mean, whatever it is, you can classify in whatever fancy category that you want. But at the end of the day, the person is suffering. Person is having a lot of discomfort. So we need to understand what's the root cause of possibly a type 2 diabetes and how it can affect your cardiovascular diseases. And diabetes doesn't come alone. It comes with so many other side, it comes with a lot of family of, issues like obesity, then cataract, nephropathy, neuropathy, retinopathy, and ulcers, foot ulcers as well. So that's a profile that we have. Then we have neurological health. Another critical organ is of brain and the neurological, system. So we have so many, things listed here, around 27 different conditions. So we can find out whether we have any genetic disorders and lifestyle tendency to have lifestyle disorders based on a lifestyle. The original camera, they say, is eyes. Eyes can make you feel and experience the entire world and its beauty, but it needs to be also healthy. So we have a lot of ophthalmic disorders, and today we are all in front of the screen, mobile phones, tabs, and desktops and laptops all the time. So that's invariable. So you need to be wearing glasses, but we need to be taking care as to how we can minimize that use through this profile study. We also need to understand the dental profile, and there's a lot of genetics involved as far as dental profile is concerned. So I'll go a little quickly and then look at respiratory disorders. The video today talked about pollution and respiratory tract related issues, whether it's allergy, respiratory failure, infectious diseases. Coronavirus was all to respiratory tract. It's not something that affected our joints or gut health or something. So deficiency disorders and interstitial lung diseases. So this is causing around 15 to 16% of the death at this point in time. Then there are allergies. Allergy is not a condition where you need to be admitted in an ICU or in a hospital, but then this is something that we are finding it difficult on a day-to-day basis. So we are looking at various kinds of allergy: nasal allergy, skin allergy, and food allergy. Then we have the kidney health. I just got a call from somebody saying that I've got a cousin in the USA going through a problem, and they want to buy Velocity Genetics kit, and then we need to be sending it to USA, which we can right now. So there are various conditions here that we need to understand. So ये सभी conditions को हम लोग एक profiling कर सकते हैं and then look at what's there in the future as well. Bone health disorders, there are around 9 conditions that we are checking. Now all these conditions are various in number simply because it needs to be backed by the research papers and science. So if there is nothing as far as genetic studies are concerned, we don't present them in our panel. So there is bone health, joint orders, juvenile arthritis, and bone disorders is what we have here. Then we have hematological health, which is related to the blood. So red blood cell ka disorder kya hai, platelet ka disorders kya hai, and then clotting disorders is what we can find out. So this information can be very, very handy, and we can access this throughout our life once we do this once in a lifetime genetic testing program. Then there is gastrointestinal health, which is GI health. And today, gut microbiome is taking a lot of prominence, because irrespective of what you eat, if your gut is not able to absorb, you will have a lot of gut related disorders, and that can create a havoc, because the nutrition is not supplied in spite of you consuming a lot of supplements. So we need to understand our gut health and its strengths. Who doesn't want to be beautiful looking? Everybody wants to be handsome and nice and fair. But our largest organ, which is an external organ, skin, can trouble us with so many different conditions based on our lifestyle, based on our food habits, and our so many other things that we do. So we can find out, do we have tendency to have acne, alopecia? How do we react to sunspots and sunburns, tanning ability, and very popular, very diseases like psoriasis, vitiligo, and eczema. So we can have this profile. Then we have immunology genomics. So there are so many autoimmune conditions that we address here through this panel. Then we have infectious diseases. Who doesn't understand infection right now after COVID-19? So infections can be through bacteria, through viral, through microbial, parasite. So we understand how susceptible we are. Infection of corona, we could not avoid. But a lot of people came back just with a quarantine. Some people had to go to ICU, oxygen cylinders, and a lot of people did not come back from the hospital because of the genetic reaction or genetic profile that they have to this kind of stuff. Then we have hormonal profile. So if there is no proper hormonal secretion that happens in our body, we will have a various conditions. There was a time where people used to have like 6, 8, 10, 12 children. But today, couples are struggling to produce, even one child because of a lot of hormonal disorders, menstrual disorders, and all this profile we can understand for men and women and so many other related conditions as well. Especially for women who are expecting mothers, can look at also what are the possibility of IVF and pregnancy loss, so if there are any risk factors. Then there are addictions. We are listing a few addictions like alcohol, nicotine, and some drugs, and we can understand our profiles. Then there is vaccinomics, because vaccination is taking a lot of center stage. So we are also introducing 2-3 vaccinations where parents can take a call whether the children, they really need it, and then what's the risk factor that they have. Circadian rhythm now talks about your lifestyle. At what time, what activity you should be doing. Do we need to be waking up at 1 o'clock at night, or what time we should be waking up, what time we should be sleeping, what time we should be having, what kind of activities is a profile that you will be able to understand. So how do we respond? For one of the tests also tells us that whether you should be doing exercise in the morning or evening. So there's a test called morningness to eveningness. So this will tell a lot of things about us. Then there is a fitness profile. I told you about exercise. Now there are fundamentally 2 types of exercise. One is endurance related. The other one is power related. Just imagine power related का आदमी को आप jogging करवा रहे हो, वो दिन का 2-2 घंटा भी चलेगा तो उसको कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ेगा. Whereas endurance guy goes to the gym and then does treadmill at high speed, he probably might collapse because he is not genetically equipped to withstand the pressure and the biological metabolism that happens in his body. So we can also profile our injury risk, flexibility, and exercise response to various foods and exercise. So this is one of the very interesting thing. And lastly, the most interesting panel that I have in this panel, the entire program, is the personality traits, more to do with the psychological conditions and disorders. So what kind of a person I am, my temperament, my creativity ability, my social skills, my cognition efficiency, all this can be done here. So withdrawn behavior, are we really get very sad, upset, moody, and then become depressed and cut off from people? We can understand that. Now we understand that I have a risk factor. I can be cautious next time. Am I an animal lover? Am I trustfulness? Whether I easily believe people. A lot of people feel देखो हम लोग सच्चे आदमी, हम लोग believe करते हैं, and then we do whatever business and relationship related issues, and then they फंस जाते हैं. So you can understand saying that this is a genetic condition that we have, so we got to be probably more alert the next time we have any issue. So friends, now how do we go about velocity genetic DNA testing program? So what is all included? The first thing is, this is a saliva based genetic testing. You don't really have to give your blood, which is not an invasive test. Non-invasive test, spitting karna aasan hai. So when you do this velocity genetic testing program. You need to buy a kit. This will be delivered to you all over the world. In India, it's absolutely free. In outside of India, we take the actual delivery charges, whichever country that is shipping it to. Then we have, you need to watch a video because your saliva needs to be collected at home. And it's a very simple instruction video. It's there in multiple languages, around 10 languages in our YouTube channel. So you will get a link through WhatsApp messages. You can look at it and understand the simple procedure. And you need to take care of all the precautions that you need to be taking. And I recommend all of you see it in your own mother tongue or Hindi, English, and understand the procedure and don't make mistakes, because there could be a slight chance of contamination and the sample not being passed in the quality control section of the DNA lab. Then you need to send the DNA saliva sample back to us at Mumbai. And once the samples are collected, they are processed in batches every week. And then you get a online report after 21 working days. Now, this is a comprehensive member section where you'll get a lot of things. I'll explain to you in the next slide. And then you also get a PDF report, which is actually a summary. So why we are not giving a PDF of the entire report? Because now with more than 300 phenotypes and the number of markers that we are testing, the number of pages are running over 1,000 pages. So it's not very wise to take printout of so many pages, which you probably may not read everything. So you can always go online. But as a summary, we'll get a DNA report, which is around 60 pages. Then this report is in English language. I'm sure you can read, but you probably may not understand it correctly. So we have our genetic counselor. So yeah, before that, before the counseling, you need to now submit your health profile. Now, I told you a lot of emphasis that I gave on our lifestyle, because it's not just your genetics and genetic disorders. It's also about your lifestyle. So we give you gene-based wellness solutions based on your genetics and also based on your lifestyle you're following currently. So there are online forms that you need to submit. And then now a genetic counselor will keep your genetic report and insights on one side, and all your lifestyle that you're following today. Maybe you're staying in a hostel, so you're eating the food that is served to you. You cannot customize. But if you are living in a joint family, maybe there could be a common food that's done. But if there are nuclear families, probably you can have food of your choice. So then the counselor puts all this information together and then counsels you. And based on the discussion that you have and based on why you are doing this genetic profiling, they'll give you a action plan, our recommendations. Now, this is actually, for me, is the real product, because this is where you get solutions, suggestions, insights, recommendations, do's, don'ts, and you need to follow this. Remember, I told you, knowing is knowing, doing is doing. So यहाँ पे जो बताया गया, you'll have to follow that, and you will see results coming to you. And then you can explore our wellness help desk assistance, which is included in the program cost. You don't have to pay separately, and you can avail this facility for the next 1 year. And then there is gene banking facility. Now we are using the utmost advanced technology. We have electronically saving all the information that we derive from a genetic sequencing. And then you can experience genomic wellness. So this is the entire program of 12 months. So you pay for the entire program, not just one test. Everything is included. Your kit is included. It is shipped to you free of cost. Then your report, your counseling, your action plan, and your wellness help desk. So this is how your report access page would look like. So you can just go to our website, and then this page opens up. So you can put your barcode number here and your password, which will be sent to you, and just log in, and you will get a page like this. Now in this page, you can see there's a dashboard. So there is your personal profile, your lifestyle profile, your download your DNA report and action plan from here, your health profile, and why you're doing this. Your health goals will be listed here. So you can always go and then see, and then remind yourself of saying that, yes, I'm doing this test for this. And you probably can edit this as and when you make some changes. And then there is a welcome letter. Then there is update health data. These are the forms that are there. Then you can read a little bit about basics of genetics, how to read this report, authenticity certificates, and then your DNA report. So when you click on this, you'll get all the 22 panels and your results. Then there is your action plan or genetic counseling, and then wellness help desk numbers, and there are some couple of statutory disclaimers and terms and conditions. And you can also change your password as and when you want. And these are some of the celebrities, VIPs who have already done our testing and at various stages of our existence for the last 6 years. And these are not the VIPs alone. Every customer who is a Velocity customer is a VIP because he cares for his or his family's health, and that's why he thinks that, yes, I need to do a predictive healthcare analysis and then be healthy to be enjoying the gift of life for the benefit of his own and for his family. And then, friends, we need to take care of our body first. As I told in the beginning, if our body is healthy, happy, then we can enjoy holistic wellness. So genetics is fundamentally this, and every single solution, because genetics is not just for humans, every living organism has. And you can see every day there are some breakthroughs that the scientific community is posting on social media. And then this is a very, very progressive, very ahead of times. मतलब हम लोग जो आप बात कर रहे हैं, is probably critical mass will talk about it after 5 years or 10 years. So we are far, far ahead of times, because as you understand, the Human Genome Project ended in 2003. It came to the public domain in the US in 2009 and 10, and it came to India in around 2012, but it actually started exploring a little bit in 2016, and we are there from 2016, especially presenting to people the power of genetics and nutrition put together, called nutrigenomics. So this is essentially nutrigenomics. So you can have simple solutions and you can make food your medicine. So I request all of you to take action and take care of yourself. So